Penguins of the Penguin Army. My name is Shufam and welcome back to VF1 Roundup. Here we are in Britain, my country. My favourite Grand Prix, the best track on the calendar, undoubtedly. We're here to talk about the 2023 British Grand Prix, which was actually a pretty good race in some parts. In a season dominated by Verstappen and Red Bull, qualifying was much of the same. Q2 and Q3 was dominated by Verstappen, but wasn't by the same margin. But we'll talk about this right away, actually. Lando Norris, Oscar Piastri in the McLarens, P2, P3. How the fuck has that happened? If you think back to all the way back in Bahrain, they were so shit. Such poor race cars. And here we are, discussing them in P2 and P3. And let me just get this little fact up of where were they in, I don't know, can't get the fucking thing up. But yeah, they were miles off it. Really miles off the pace. Hang on, let's get this result up. In Bahrain, in the full race, they finished, well, Piastri dumped on lap 13, and Lando finished 2 laps down. So, what's changed? McLaren have bought some upgrades, and my god, have they worked. And Lando and Oscar have been very, very impressive. And let's just give a bit of credit. This is Oscar Piastri, a rookie, performing so well. He's only about less than 10th, just over a tenth of a second behind his teammate, who's a very well-respected driver. But yeah, great job from Lando and Oscar in quali. When we talk about Max Verstappen at the moment, we've also got to talk about Checo Perez, who finished in a measly P15 in quali. Didn't even get out of Q1. Now, I appreciate the weather was going to Brit him on you. But yeah, wasn't good. The Checo didn't get out of Q1, and his miserable run in quali continued. Speaking of miserable in qualifying, Valtteri Bottas got disqualified for not having a fuel sample, and he got thrown out. But yeah, let's talk about the rest of the cars. So in P19 we had Magnussen, who's starting to struggle a bit. P18 Nick De Vries in what was actually his last Grand Prix. We'll talk about that right at the end of the episode. Zhou Guanyu, 17th, Yuki Tsunoda, 16th, and Sergio Perez, 15th. I think we can really see which are the two crappiest cars. That's the AlphaTauri and Alfa Romeo, and the Haas are the 3 cars that are struggling. However, you know, let's be real, Hulkenberg's outperformed Haas at the moment, because that is a shitbox. But yeah, the AlphaTauris are a true shitbox. It's a tractor. Logan Sargent, P14. For speaking of the weather, it's actually just started to rain. Logan Sargent, 14th. I'm starting to get there. Ocon, 13th. Lance Stroll, 12th. He is struggling. Hulkenberg, 11th. But yeah, in P10 was Pierre Gasly in the Alpine. Fernando Alonso's car pace really started to drop off in the Aston. Alex Albon in P8, who's having an absolutely stellar season. Lewis in 6th in his home Grand Prix. George 5th in 7th. Lewis 7th. George 6th in their home Grand Prix for Mercedes. Carlos Sainz 5th. Charles Leclerc 4th for 2 McLarens. Max Verstappen. Somehow, as we expected, apart from, you know, the 2 McLarens absolutely shithousing it. But yeah, we're going to start off about to talk about the Alpine double DNF or nil points. Tired for different reasons. But yeah, just a miserable bit of run of luck for them. But we'll start off with a race of exactly what it was. Lando Norris got into the first. He led a couple of laps of his home Grand Prix. You know, he led to lap 5, and Verstappen jumped him. When Max had a bit too much wheel spin at the start, and then yeah, he led 4 laps, and then from there, yeah, he led the race completely untouchable. This extends Red Bull's wins that dates back to last season's Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. And had Mercedes not won in Brazil, I'd be talking a very different. It would be like a year run of just basically Red Bull winning, which is a shame. Yeah. And it means that in 2 weeks' time at Hungary, Red Bull can break McLaren's record of most amount of wins consecutively. yeah, much like the rest of the season, he's reduced it to a demonstration. It is a long season so far. It's not been a classic. The race was static for so long until K-Mag's Haas caught fire on the Wellington Straight. Caused a little bit of a safety car. There was a couple of tyre choices. The last lap 14, Norris and Piastri were unhappy with the tyres, but actually probably worked out worse. Hamilton jumped a lot of cars in the pits, and he was able to really challenge. And he was on the mediums, but he really pushed him, but then they started to go off, and Lando defended well. Yeah, happy days. But, yeah, so with pit stops happening, with people happening, Leclerc pits out of fourth, Sainz, Russell, and then Piastri just got basically shafted by it. Yeah, and then Ferrari just fell away. Fell away completely. Just were non-existent. So let's go through the race rundown. Non-finishes were Ocon, Magnussen, Pierre, Gasly, and De Vries last in his last Grand Prix. Tsunoda 16th, Shogun Yu 15th, Lastro 14th, Nico Hulkenberg 13th, Valtteri Bottas 12th, Logan Sargent 11th, so close yet so far. Carlos Sainz 10th, Charles Leclerc 9th, Albon 8th, Alonso 7th, Perez 6th, great recovery to fair to him. Russell 5th, Piastri 4th, Hamilton 3rd, Lando 2nd, Max Verstappen 1st. Now, for the next Grand Prix of Hungary. And the reason why I put off recording this episode, because we all thought it might happen. There was a tie test at Silverstone after the Grand Prix. And by lap 11, Daniel Ricciardo got a phone call. Well, not Daniel Ricciardo, he performed very well. He was the one doing the test. Nick De Vries got a phone call from Dr. Helmut Marko basically saying, ta-da, you're sacked. And for Hungary, the Honey Badger is back. And we'll see you all in next week's episode. Well, I say next week, it's 2 weeks, I think. Next episode, and we'll get to talk about the Hungary Grand Prix and Daniel Ricciardo's return to Formula 1. But thank you so much for watching. My name's Trevor, and I'll see you all next time. Until then, toodaloo. See ya!